Please help me welcome our truly special guest, Sandra Velasquez. Oh, all right, so how does one become a rockera? Tell me about this. We all need to understand because we're all badasses, but like you took it to the next level.
Well, my parents forced me to play the piano when I was 5 because my mother came from Mexico when she was an adult. She never had piano lessons or dance lessons or anything. So she wanted to, like many immigrant parents, give her children, a better future. So I was forced to take piano lessons. I hated it. They forced me to practice. And then when I was 13, they let me quit piano and play guitar. So then I could learn all my favorite rock songs. And then eventually I wanted to go to music school.
Okay.
And then I was grateful, obviously,
Yeah.
that I had to audition. So I had to audition with the piano.
All right, so I'm starting to see a theme of reinvention here. We're going to come back to that. So you've evolved into a different type of creator now. And I think that a lot of people who see business women don't really understand that there's so much creativity behind that. Can you talk about the thread between being an artist, performer, and now a businesswoman and a business leader?
Yeah, well, I think the common thread is that you have to have a vision. I used to be a songwriter, so you have to have an inspiration, an idea, something that you want to create. And so that's really the through line, is that I am still an artist, I'm still a creator, but now I've created a business, and instead of selling music, I'm now selling a physical product.
Yeah, I mean, and also part of it is telling a story, right? Like you are, through the products that you're creating, telling the story of the nopal itself, right? Both backwards and in its history, but also looking forward at what it can be. You and I talked last week to prepare for today, and like a lot of entrepreneurs, you were broke and in debt and feeling really guilty because at 43, I didn't own my house, right? I started my company at 42 and in very similar circumstances. But you did not let any of that distract you. How did you find that resilience?
Well, I think all of us have experiences of like peaks and valleys in our life, right? And it's in those valleys where we get to really understand what we're really made of. We've all fallen down. So when you're down, you either stay down or you get up. And so in those moments, kind of like when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose, right? I think a lot of people are scared to start a business because they already have a job, they have a house, they have a car. I'm like, what am I going to lose? So it was really like, well, I can truly just start again and build something from the ground up. So to me, it was almost like, what do I have to lose?
100% agree, right? Because when you tell yourself, I have nothing to lose, you dare greater. The other thing that I really respect about that driving philosophy that you started with is that you were absolutely willing to learn, right? And I think that a lot of us get really comfortable in our career. A lot of us follow a particular path and we check off all of these boxes. But you said, no, 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 no. I am prepared to learn what I need to learn. Talk to me about the things that you had to learn to literally start from scratch.
I had to learn everything. I had to learn how to make soap. I had to learn how to start a business. I had to learn how to become a leader of a team. Fortunately, I had been a leader of a band, so I did have experience, rallying people. And as a leader of a band, I rallied audiences, right? So I had that experience. But I had to pretty much learn I'm still learning, by the way.
Yeah.
So just so we're clear, it's not like I learned and now I'm good. No, I'm learning every day. I'm exhausted every day because I'm learning every day. You have to learn the law. You have to learn inventory. You have to learn cash flow management. You have to learn so much goes into starting a business from the ground up.
Yeah. The other thing that you said was that you can always have another good idea, right? And I think that that is so important when you are daring greatly, right? Shout out to Brene Brown. Because a lot of us fixate on here's the one idea, and if this fails, I'm done. That's not your attitude.
No, listen, as they say, ideas are cheap. It's about the execution. Lots of people have ideas, but not everyone acts upon them. So the difference is that I had an idea, and then I went and I registered the trademark, and then I went and I opened the LLC, and then I went and I learned how to make soap, and I just kept taking action, So there's always, I still have lots of ideas, but not all of them are going to get executed upon,
That's so funny. Starting your LLC costs under $200, just putting it out there. But it's really important that you give your idea like a presence, that you plant your flag. I think that that's really important just to get you started.
Trademarking. I can't, no one wants to talk about the boring operational stuff, but let me tell you.
I do.
I've already had 2 people try to sue me, someone registered for the Nopalera trademark in China. I had to fight that. That was thousands of dollars. I have other people trying to encroach. This is how you know it's a good idea, right? Because other people are like, they want some of it.
So that's also stuff you had to learn.
Yes. I have 3 lawyers now.
Wow. You've been warned, okay? You've all been warned. 3 lawyers. All right, I want to talk about something that's very sensitive because, Nopalera is valued at $10 million, right? But you and I know that, yes, give it up for the valuation, yes. That is not an easy feat. However, that is the market taking its best educated guess. And you and I both know as businesswomen that there is a real gap between the market valuation and what's happening on the ground. Talk to us about that.
I think the easiest example is to think about real estate, right? I live in New York City. Someone says, this apartment is valued at $1 million. Says who?
Says the guy selling it to you.
Says the market, right? So the market is just the people who are deciding the value. That's it. I'm actually hoping that Nopalera will be valued at $100 million. Right now, we're just getting started. But when you raise institutional capital, which I did in 2022 after bootstrapping for 2 years, the market decides, which is the investor that's writing you the check says, okay, your company's worth 10 million post-money valuation, which means we're going to give you 2 million, and then 2 plus 8 is 10. So that's how valuations work in the institutional raising world.
So it's more about the risk they're willing to take on you.
Yes, everyone's taking a risk. I'm taking a risk, they're taking a risk, yes.
Wow. So, this is stuff that, again, we don't talk about enough so that we can really understand what you need to do to be successful, right? So let's talk a little bit about, you're in it. It's been 4 years.
Almost 4 years,
Almost 4 years. You've learned a ton. What are the things that you still feel are in front of you that you have to power through, right? Because now you have a much better sense of what those are.
Yes. So I think it's important to remember that there is no there. There is no arrival. You just keep going. You get to this top of the mountain, and you're like, oh, there's the next top, and then it just keeps going. You don't ever arrive. I wake up every day scared. Ask my partner. I wake up and I'm like, I'm scared. He's like, don't start the day this way. This is not how we have to change the narrative. So I just want to put that out there because I think people see me, they're like, oh, you've done it, you've raised money, you've been on Shark Tank, you're successful. I'm like, and I'm still scared, right? It's still scary to continue to go to the next level. And I think that is, why my story has become an example, because I didn't just stop at, okay, we made $100,000, we're good, we'll just stay here, we'll stay small. I'm like, no, we did $2 million in revenue last year, we're trying to do 3 this year, and we're trying to do 10 the following year.
Yes.
So, and I just want to be clear, that doesn't mean profit, people.
Right.
Okay.
Let's make sure that we understand. That's not $2 million in her bank account, personally.
No. I still have my student loans. I still don't own a house, right? So I like to be very transparent about that because we have to tell the truth to each other,
Yeah. So let's actually talk about how you have also built support for yourself, right? Like one of the things that you did was join a Woman of Color mastermind because you wanted to vibrate at that frequency. And I love that. Tell me about how you recognized the need for that, how you identified your people, the tribe that you wanted to join, and how it has benefited you.
So, I used to be a musician for 15 years. So I have a lot of musician friends that are all very poor. I'm like, they're not going to help me build my multi-million-dollar empire. So I'm going to have to go and make new friends. And I think that's also a difficult thing for when you're in your 40s. You're like, you have your friends, right? To go make new friends means you have to go put yourself into new rooms with new people who are doing the things that you want to do. And that's, it's like that old saying, like, tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are, right? And so you have to go and surround yourself with people that have the same growth mindset. That's very important. People that are really pushing themselves, to their full potential. That's really what it was about.
So when you think about your personal goals and your goals for your company, where's the overlap?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I tell this to my team all the time. I say, listen, because they've been with me since the beginning, so they have experienced the growth. We've all kind of lived it together. And I say, in order to really scale our company, we have to scale ourselves. That's the only, you don't grow a company and you get to stay the 2023 version of yourself. Sorry, everyone. You have to evolve. Like, you have to change. If you think $1 million is like the ceiling of the amount of money that you could ever possibly see or make, then it will be.
Yeah.
And so you have to commit to your own evolution, so that when you get to that destination, the next milestone, it's familiar. It feels normal.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that, because one of the things that when you are in the business sphere, you recognize is that there is so much capital out there. And this is one of the things that you and I talked about last week, that a lot of women starting out think that there's a very finite amount of capital, and then that 0.02% of VC money figure gets thrown around. It's so discouraging, but that hasn't been your experience.
So there is so much capital in the world that people don't even know where to put their money. That's why they invest in companies like mine. I mean, my mind was blown when I learned about the whole venture capital world. I'm like, why wouldn't you just go buy 10 houses? Why do you want to invest in startups? You know what I mean? Go buy a hotel, I don't know. But it's true, there is so much capital, right? Money is not a pie, it's not a pizza. It's not like I get a slice and now there's one slice left, less for you. No, there is an endless amount of capital. And by the way, money means nothing without us. If we all disappeared off of the face of the planet, money has no value whatsoever. But it is endless, there is so much. It's constantly regenerating, like air. Do you feel bad that you're breathing air and you're taking air away from someone else?
No.
Does that ever cross your mind?
Never.
Never. So I think just to even wrap your brain around that, I think is one step first.
So, come on. Speaking to that, I asked you a really deceivingly simple question on our call. What is wealth to you? And you said, wealth starts in the mind. And I had to take a beat, because I was feeling all like, oh, she's gonna come up with some, elaborate answer, and you were on it. How did you recognize that, and how does that play out in how you're growing this company?
So the way I want to answer that question is, when I went out to raise institutional capital in 2022, what I learned from that experience is that money begets money.
Yes.
Like, people want to give you money when you already have money, which makes no sense, right? Because you're like, I need the money because I don't have the money, right? But it's like how people give celebrities free stuff. It's like, they don't need free stuff, they have money, they can buy it, right? But it's like confidence, like confidence begets, like, other people want to be near it,
Yes.
right? It's like this energetic aura.
Yep.
And so money is the same way. Money is just like this energy that once you have money, people want to give you money. So when I was raising capital, I realized that I had to show up with the confidence like I already had money. I couldn't show up to the Zoom meeting and be like, so I don't have any money, can you please give me some so I can continue my Latina business? No, I had to show up like, I have this opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a part of it? I will let you know if you can or not.
Right, so create FOMO. Yeah. So people, the key to a good pitch is create FOMO.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like, I'm gonna be in this room for now. Either you're on or you're not.
Right, well, so this is this thing of like, you have to become the money. Like, you bring that money energy, and then people are like, oh, let me just give you stuff, because it feels like you already have stuff, and so that's the key.
All right, so fair warning, we're about to enter the self-help portion of the conversation. Because you said something really profound, which is that you believe that many of us are carrying around money wounds. Please elaborate.
Yes, I first learned this term money wounds from my friend Linda Garcia, who is now a representative in the state of Texas. She used to teach, does anyone know Linda Garcia? She wrote a book called Wealth Warrior. She used to teach a class on the stock market to Latinos. And I took her class, and I was ready. I had my pen and paper. I was like, tell me what stocks to invest in, right? And I was ready, and she's like, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our money wounds. I was like, what? And she says, you can't start investing if you do not first address your own relationship with money. And so I want to give her credit because she's the one that really taught me about this. And I really had to come to terms with my own relationship with money. And the first money school that we go to in our lives is our family.
100%.
We're born in our parents' house. We were raised by our family. And how they interact with money is how we learn what money means. Is it bad? Is it good? Are rich people bad? Like, are rich people greedy? Like, all of these things we learn so young that we don't even know that we're learning them. And I learned through studying my business that I had money wounds, that I used to be mad at money. You know, I used to be mad, like, oh, this bill is here, let me pay this bill. You know what I mean? Like, I had this, I was mad that I had debt, I was mad, right? Money felt like this thing that was always like over there, like I couldn't get it. You know what I mean? And so I had to address that because how am I ever gonna grow my company if I'm mad at money? Like a business, the point of a business is to make money, right? You can't be mad at money. You can't hate money. And I think it's something that we don't talk about enough. I think that it's something that, honestly, I wish I could teach like a high school class on it because we have to unlearn, those things. Otherwise, we're just gonna stay where we are. And more of us, Latinas, need to succeed, and not just a little bit, but like wildly succeed because it's going to be all of you that write the checks for the next Latinas.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And and I just want to add to that the first people that wrote me checks were, guess who?
Latinas.
They were Latinas.
Same for my company.
Yes, and why? Because people help people that they see themselves in. Please see the rest of the country, right? And all the venture capital, white men help other white men. Oh, I see myself in you, right? You hear this on Shark Tank. Oh, I see myself in you, right? And so that's why we need to succeed, right? So when you think about making a lot of money, being wildly successful, it's not just for you.
Yeah.
It's for everyone else.
Yeah.
Like imagine if I could like fund this conference, right? If I could like write the check. That's what we want. That's what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. You heard it here first. When we come back in 10 years and it's, diamond level sponsored, Nopalera. You were in the room when it happened. So I want to add to that because when I talk to aspiring, Latinas who want to start a business, I remind them that money amplifies who you are, right? So if you are a leader, if you are creative, if you are someone who multiplies opportunities, money's going to give you the ability to do that even more on a different level. If you are not that person, then money's going to give you the opportunity to show that you are not that person. And I think in your case, the way that you have come out, not only as an example, but as a true leader in the space, has really amplified your ability to touch so many more lives. Tell me what it's been like to be on the receiving end of the admiration, of the respect, of people wanting to learn from you.
I mean, from the beginning, I have my own podcast, the Nopalera podcast. I have a newsletter. I really just try to share a lot of information because that's the gap that we need to close, right? The more we can give people the resources, the information, the truth, right? Like, it's great that people think I'm inspiring, but I also want to tell people the truth.
Yeah.
That's like, I give people my contacts. I'll give them investor lists. I'll recommend my lawyer. All of the operational stuff of running a business is like the unsexy stuff that no one wants to talk about. Everyone wants to talk about marketing.
Yep.
Like marketing, who did your logo. It's like, that's not it, y'all. That's not it. Okay, let's talk about how many lawyers you got.
We know you got
Let's talk about your money market account. Don't let your money just sit in a checking account. Put it where it can grow,
right.
So yeah, I mean, how does it feel to be I don't know how to answer that question. I was a musician for so long, so I've been on stage for like 20 years. You know what I mean?
So you're just used to the adoration.
I guess so. No, I mean, I just try to be transparent. I just try to be transparent. I think that's also why people are attracted, because they feel like if they ask me a question, I'm going to tell them the truth.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
Yeah.
I get that about you. I definitely get that about you from the first time that we interacted. But someone in your position has a lot of demands placed on them, right? And there has to be a very conscientious prioritizing of self-care, of being a healthy person, of being in a healthy mind frame, of being a healthy leader. So talk to us a little bit about how you make sure that you do that.
Yes. Over time, I've come to realize that it's really important to have like a fortress of grounded, wise people who just truly love you. Those can be friends, those can be family, whatever. But you need those people to ground you, and you can't have easy access to you all the time, right? I mean, I have been at a restaurant trying to eat dinner, and I'm like literally chewing, and someone's like, "Tell me how it was to be on Shark Tank." I'm like, now is not the time, right? So you do have to have boundaries, and I don't want to ever come across as rude, or inaccessible. But as time goes on, I realize like I do have to protect my space, and that's everyone should protect their space, not just people who are public, but everyone should protect their peace, whatever it is that helps you, I guess, rejuvenate yourself. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Believe it or not, I'm actually like an introvert. Like I actually gain more. I gain more energy when I'm alone. Like being in crowds it actually drains me. So just knowing who you are and what you need is really important.
How do you pass some of that on to your team? How do you make sure that they remain healthy so that they can do the work that is necessary?
So I have an all-Latina team. We're 5 people. And we're remote. So like I'm in New York, 2 of us are in New York, and 3 of us are in California. And we get together quarterly it's really important to gather. So we're actually having our in-person on Thursday. And that's how we stay close, because we're always on Slack every day, we're on Zoom, but it's important to gather, and also for me as a leader to always kind of reset and remind people like, here's what we're doing for the next 6 months, here's what we're doing for the next 12 months, here are our core values, stay focused. There's so much noise, we live in a digital world, there's world wars, there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's, whatever, and so it's important for us to stay focused and grounded, so I think coming together is how I do it, and making sure that everyone, I check in with everyone, if I know that someone has worked on the weekend because we had an event, I'm like, please take tomorrow off, so just making sure that everyone is healthy, because if we're not healthy, the whole thing falls apart.
Wow, I really like that approach, because that's how you scale them individually, if they understand that you're invested in them on that level. I love that. I really do. Okay, so there's something else that we talked about as Latina business owners, which is the circulation of the Latino dollar, right? Because there's a lot of myth making around the sleeping giant, the 5th largest economy in the world, all of these headline grabbing things that they say about us. But in fact, we need to do it on a much more granular level. Tell me what you want us to do with our dollar, with our Latino dollar.
Well, obviously go to nopalera.co and add 3 things to your cart. That's number 1. I also think it's Amazon Prime Day today. I think there's some things on sale there. But so aside from that, no, I think in all honesty, what's super important is that we all understand the power of our choices. I think, this is why I love, my friend Linda, who teaches about the stock market, because I'm sure everyone here has an iPhone. I'm sure you all shop on Amazon, and I'm sure many of you have Nike shoes. Other people are profiting off of the fact that you made those decisions, right? So ownership. Like we opened up a We Fund Your Community round recently. It's closed now, but we allowed our customers to invest in Nopalera because this idea of ownership is so important.
I invested.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And so just being really intentional with your choices. I know it feels like it's not moving the needle, but it is. Like if I come to your bathroom and I see, what am I going to see in the bathroom? Am I going to see Dove? Am I going to see Aveeno? Am I going to see these are all, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, like Unilever-owned brands. But if you switch those to like, brands that are Latino-owned, you really are changing the economy. And it's already a fact that Latino business owners hire more Latinos, so we create jobs for the community, et cetera. So it's like these little decisions that have these ripple effects.
Yeah. So I was talking actually to Delia behind the stage, and she buys them and she keeps them at home as hostess gifts, and she makes a little basket. And I was like, I'm totally stealing that idea. It's a perfect hostess gift.
Yes, it is.
For when you come over.
It is.
Well, Sandra, you're amazing. I'm one of your biggest fans. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.